Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Okay. My name's Michealine, grateful alcoholic. I'm a wreck. I want to thank Shirley for asking me to do this, I think, and the committee for all the hard work. I've already been in tears twice today, hyperventilating up in my room while trying to pray, and then I thought, screw it, you know. I'm a plasma solid drug that's supposed to tell their story. It's not show business, you know, and I was just like, the powwow. Oh, my God. And happy birthday. Can I see the hands of the people that are in their first year? Welcome home. All right, cool. Oh. And I hope all of you pay for registration. Because I had to pay for a registration that I ripped off in 1983 at the Palm Springs Roundup. At the Riviera? Yeah. Okay, so my girlfriend and I are like in our first year, and we can't afford all this, you know, and I'm working in a deli, she's waitressing, and we're doing 5,000 HNI commitments, and we have no life, so that's all we serve it. So we get off work, and she says, let's go to the Palm Springs Roundup. And I said, we can't afford to go to that. And she goes, well, we'll take bologna sandwiches, pillows and blankets, we'll sleep by the pool, they have Chase lounges, and we got enough money for a tank of gas, let's go. So we did it. And so then people would ask for a registration, and I kept going, I'm not sure where it is, which was kind of true. I mean, I wasn't. First year honesty, you know, and we slept out by the pool, and we went to marathon meetings, and we listened to Johnny, and we listened to a lot of people. I'm humbled to be a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is such a big deal that I'm here with all my heroes, and I just never been so grateful to be sober. So I just really wanted to thank you, because I'm I'm not spiritually deep enough to feel this way, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like usually so shallow, and I'm going for deep, but I can't get there, and then I just get there, and this is not a good time for me, you know? I wanted to be really cool tonight, because I'm sitting at the big people's table, you know, the little people's table where we have cardboard tables at Thanksgiving, and then the grown-ups are in the other room at the big table with the real silverware and stuff, and that's how I felt, and Johnny's sitting there, and Clancy and everything at dinner tonight, and I'm like, I'm gonna spill something, you know? I just know it's gonna not be good. So I made it through dinner, and now I make it through this, and then I'm relaxing. Jesus. I want to thank Jerry and some of my other friends that came up just to give me some support, and I am so grateful to be sober since June 30th, 1982, and for that I'm eternally grateful. I've never been so grateful to be sober, you know. And this last year has just been probably my second best year in sobriety. I lost most of my retirement, and I only have to work till I'm 103 now to recuperate, so that's good. I like my job, so I'm good. And both my sons are military contractors. They're attached to the base in Kandahar in Afghanistan, and I'm a stress case over that every single day. And my oldest daughter, who's a member of Al-Anon, is now in another program with Anonymous in it, and that was quite an event. And my youngest daughter is leaving for Germany for business, and she's young. She's 32, and she's... I know she thinks she's a big wig, but I'm like, Germany and Singapore, and it's like, and then a drunk driver hit me and totaled my car, and I've got some nerve damage, and it's like, and I thought, this is a good year. Because my first year sober was similar. Only the kids were young. And that year, looking back, was full of gifts and ugly wrapping paper from God. Everything that looked like an oh my God to me then was really the best part of my sobriety. It separates the men from the boys and the girls from the women, and you dig in deeper and feel the need of God, or you won't stay. And so I know this year's been about something incredibly important. I don't know what it is yet. But I'll wait, and years from now, I'll come back and tell you what it was about. But right now, it just feels like a hard year, and it's just like, God, I'm exhausted from growing, and I just, oh my God. Glad the members of Al-Anon are here too, because that's the program they know I was shooting for, and I just overshot the mark, and, because they're so good. And I like, I'm good and he's bad, and then I forgive him, and then I get a couch. That was kind of my story. And then, whoa. Okay. Remind me on the time, because I'm already exhausted and I have no idea where we're going here. Thanks, Karen. She said, there are a lot of new people here tonight. And I thought, then they're in trouble. Hopefully Matthew will be inspiring tomorrow night. But tonight I'm just trying to get through this. And this is how I settle down. And I get to what I'm doing here. And this has been a big deal for me, just being here. So bear with me. I've been to other conventions, but something about being here and being brand new and being here and then now being old, which I never put two and two together. I wanted to be an old timer, but perky. I didn't really equate old and old timer. I never really put the two together, and now I'm just menopausal, and I smell like Vera Wang and Ben Gay. I'm like, which one to pick, and I had to wear both, so. Okay, good. Okay. Hi, Walt. Where's Walt? Is Walt here? Stay awake, sweetheart. Okay. Those are the kinds of, I would buy tapes. I grew up on tapes and laying on the floor and having meltdowns and listening to people, and Bob Earl, who was also crazy, and he gave me hope, believe it or not, and Clint Hodges and Johnny and Alpine Lil and all of these people, and I just listened to them when I wasn't in a meeting. Because sober's stressful. I don't know if you've ever tried to do it, but whoa. It's long, and it's overnight, all weekend, every day, and it's real. And I like to relax. And this has been a little more tense, the sober thing. And, I'm just like, I've always been like this. It's not like a new thing. And I grew up in Phoenix, and I was born in Houston, and and I was going to Catholic school, and a lot of people know my story and they're bored with it, but whatever, it's the one I got. And, you know, it's not paranoia when it's true. I was off. I didn't blend, and but going to Catholic school, that was my security. And outfits and statues and candles and rosaries and confessional booths and priests and nuns and guilt. You know, I just lived there, and I did well with that structure. And if you're neurotic and you're Catholic and you're that age, if you can't fit mainstream, nuns are good things to do. And I was going to go to the Mother House. And a Mother House is where the Blessed Virgin Mary, our order BVMs, went. And then they become real BVMs, and all the little wannabes go there. And so I was headed there. And then I had my first drink. And I went to my first party where there were no nuns present. And the next day I couldn't be a nun. And I couldn't join that order, you know. And, you know. And it's funny now, but nothing was funny when it was happening. Nothing's ever funny when it's happening. It's funny later, but not at the time. And I was devastated because I love the outfits, I like the colors, I like statues, I like stuff that nuns do. And so what my backup plan was to become a go-go dancer. And so that's what I did. And I danced at a lovely little establishment called the Pirates Den in Phoenix. Oh my God. I know, what was I thinking, you know? And it was like, minimum wage then was 65 cents an hour. And go-go dancers were making $4 an hour cash, which is a lot. And then tips, you know. And I'm like this 14-year-old kid, dressed up like a grown-up, getting money because I had a new plan. And my new plan was to be like Donna Reed. And some of you know who she is, and some of you think she's an old-timer in the Pacific Group, but she was like the epitome of motherhood. She had pearls, and she made things like cupcakes, and she had little children, and there was no fighting at her house, and everything was beautiful and perfect and wonderful. And she kissed the little children and gave them their lunches in the morning, and I thought, I could do that. I could do that. And I'm not, you know, I'm not going to make it as a nun. I'm not going to make it as a go-go dancer because it made me a little nervous. And so I got on an airplane at Sky Harbor Airport, which was about the size of the hospitality room when I left home. And, you know, and you go there and you carry a little suitcase out to the plane. And, and I went to California to marry a sailor, as I heard they were flexible, and they married people. And so I got one, and he married me. And, you know, we could all get into the zoo for free because I was under 16, and, you know, and on Sundays, if they wore their uniforms, they could get into the zoo for free too, military people. And, you know, it's just, then I got a baby, and I was gonna make meatloafs and stuff, you know, whatever grown-ups do. And what I developed a knack for doing was pretending to be a legitimate person. I wasn't really a legitimate person. I knew I wasn't a legitimate person. But TV's good, especially in the 50s. And they show you how to dress and talk and act like a legitimate person. And so I thought, I could do that. As long as I don't act like me, I can make it. Something's wrong with me. I always knew it. I didn't know I had alcoholism. I didn't know anything. I just knew I was off. I wasn't destined to become a drunk person. It wasn't really my deal. I came from 5 generations of alcoholics who hurt people. And so I would not become one on purpose. But if you're powerless over alcohol, then it will take you where it wants to take you without your permission. Full participation, but without your permission. It's going to do some bad things, and you've lost your right to choose. And I didn't know that. So I wouldn't have been like them. And I married what I liked the best, good-looking alcoholic with potential, and, you know, and they just need a good woman and a good meatloaf, basically, and they'll be good, you know. Understanding. You have to be understanding, put their needs first, and whatever else, you know. I read Parents Magazine. I read every magazine. I'd never gone to high school because it made me nervous. I tried not to do things that made me nervous. I did enroll at City College because that didn't make me nervous for some reason. It just didn't look that stressful. And I had a bunch of kids, and I really was kind of the dutiful Al-Anon, untreated, and doing all the stuff that I read and saw on TV, and he was misbehaving at times, and then I'd forgive him, and then I'd get a couch, and we kind of had a life together, you know. And I was a Girl Scout leader, and I worked in an emergency room, and I had a Cub Scouts, and I did all of the things that I had seen good moms do. And I tried to do all the good things that I saw good wives do. Now, I wasn't necessarily a great wife, but I was doing some great things. I loved my kids. That was the only legitimate thing about me. I really loved working in the ER too. I loved a lot of things that I did. But inside where you really live, if you're not okay, it doesn't really matter, because they're gonna find out. I don't know what day. And I'm not even sure what they'll find out. But they will find out, then they'll know. They'll know what you don't even know. It's not good. Whatever it is. The whole thing's exhausting. You know, I'm just like worn out from it all. And finally, he kept misbehaving more often. And so finally one day I had to say he had to go. And that was the end of my world as I knew it. Because I thought, I'm the only divorced person in La Mesa. Only one. Everybody else made it. I wanted it the most, and I didn't make it. And they're gonna all know now. I'm not good. And then my neighbor talked me into drinking after work. I love my neighbor. Because I wasn't a drinker. I drink at the ER Christmas party maybe, or PTA bowling once in a while, but it really wasn't my thing. I didn't particularly care for the taste. I wanted a weak daiquiri or a weak something that I couldn't really taste anything. I found other ways to take the edge off, and my other ways were typically to add more responsibility. I took in children from the Nazareth house in Mission Valley of parents who were really messed up. They needed a safe place to go, and we had monopoly boards and things. I thought our house would be good. I mean, it was just self-will run riot, and I never knew I was. Always looking for something to make me whole and complete and feel better, to accomplish great things. When my neighbor talked me into drinking after work, because we had what we call the second shift, I'd get off the emergency room, I'd race home. This one went to dance, this one went to soccer, this one went to ballet, this one went to start the laundry, get the dinner out. It's exhausting. Plus I had a lot of kids. And so what happened was, she said, just have a glass of wine after work to relax. She says, you need to relax a little bit. You're very tense. And she bought good wine. She wasn't an alcoholic, and we sat on her front porch and we had a glass of wine. I didn't really love it, but she liked it. So she drank one glass and was happy. I sipped, but I did start to relax. I don't know if you've ever drank, but you can relax. And I realized, you know, I was feeling more relaxed. And I started to look forward to getting off. And before the second shift started, just have a glass of wine, relax. Didn't really love this wine. It was good wine. But I acquired a taste for good wine, a lot. And one day I'd acquired such a taste for it, I was like down in bottles, getting really relaxed. And she bought me what's called a box of wine with a spigot. She goes, I'm gonna drink this and you can have this whole box. And I went, this is good. I love spigots, they're quicker, no cork, love this, bigger glass. And now I'm so relaxed, I think these kids are bugging me. I don't know if you have children, but they're very selfish and self-centered. Gimme, 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 I want, I need. And I realize, probably their father's fault, that I was doing way too much. There are other parents that can carpool. I am not the only carpool person. Plus now they're starting to get older, and I mean, pretty soon you have to set your foot down. Order a pizza. Big kids help the little kids with their homework. I'm relaxing here. And I had this progressive disease of alcoholism, which was starting to change my mind. I didn't know it did that. I thought, why am I changing my mind? And I really didn't know how to explain it, but I was. And they were starting to bug me, and I was sure that their father had really screwed them up, and I'm just left with the wreckage to fix, you know. And pretty soon I thought, screw the kids. I don't need that grief. They don't appreciate me anyway. And if you have the progressive disease of alcoholism, you have to cop an attitude, because you're about ready to screw over everybody that loves you, depends on you, and may need you for now or in the future. And there's no earthly way to just go do it. So I came up with ideas that made sense to me, which might explain why I was starting to do the things I was doing. I never had gone to bars, not since I was a young person. It was not my deal. And I didn't think good women went to bars until I went to one, and I realized, old idea, bad idea. You know, these people are happy. Very relaxed. And I need to do this once in a while. I have a lot of friends from the hospital that go there on the weekend, and they relax, and they dance, and they have fun, and it's like a Cinderella experience. You know, and I thought, I'm gonna do that once a month. And then, because, you know, the kids, there's so many of them, and and I thought, and it was like magic, where you just relax, and you know everything's gonna be okay. You just needed a break. And then I thought, I'm gonna go every month. I am gonna go with them every month, until I realized how long a month was, and why wait a month to get relaxed? You might as well get relaxed now. And I realized, so we kind of converted the monthly thing to every couple weeks to every week. And then pretty soon I started seeking lower companionship as I became a lower companion. I didn't really know any of this till I got to AA. I just thought they were annoying me. They're judgmental. I don't like uppity people. I never have, never will. They judge you. They were looking funny at me. I drove a golf cart in the pool one night because I thought it'd be fun, and everybody got all upset, you know, and I just thought, I don't need that kind of judgment, you know. I'm gonna go with my people. But that's what I think I thought at the time, that they were just a little too uppity, and I didn't really care for that. So we ended up, this is how it went. Long story short, Stardust Country Club, Falcon's Lure. That's bad. Worse, Country Pump in Lakeside. The Bottom, Lakeside Hotel. If anybody's been there, bad. Bad place. I liked it. These are drunk people, and my new friends were Brute Bill and Toothless Annie. And I liked them, you know, they were just like down to earth. Or down to floor. I mean, it was like, oh my God, you know, and it was just, and I would go to work, and I would leave work, and I was gonna relax for a little bit after work, and then go home for a second shift, and pretty soon they were on their own. Because I couldn't be home. I was going to go home, my car turns left, I can't go home. I don't know that I can't not drink. I don't know anything. I know that I'm going bad. I don't know why. I'm sure it's his fault. You know, I just don't know how to explain it. And the kids are going, what's going on? And I went, I have no idea. I'm sure it's your dad's fault, but I really can't connect the dots here. And that's what I really thought. He drove me to drink. Now, he's doing fine. He's got a new woman. They're in Coronado, Terry Cole Whitaker, finding nirvana. I am at the country pump, breaking beer bottles, throwing up, and demanding my rights as a citizen of the United States. Whatever they are, I don't know, but I demand my right to get them. And I want them all. And pretty soon, you know, you can't go any lower than this place. So, you know, there was no place but AA. And on June 29th, that's my regular birthday, and the kids are doing the Waltons theme. We were into the Waltons then. And on Walton's Mountain, you don't have to do chores on your birthday, and they bring you breakfast in bed, and they sing, and they tell something good about you. And the kids come in for the breakfast thing. I've only been home for 2 hours. I've been diagnosed with acute alcohol poisoning. I know I'm dying. They have a sense that I'm dying. And they're still trying to do their birthday rally, and I couldn't eat the breakfast. And for 1 minute, I felt really bad, because my oldest son cried. And I kind of lost my feelings. You know, alcohol turns off that section that makes you care. And they came rushing back for just a brief moment. And so I, you know, overreacted, and I said, I'm not going to drink all day today. And well, I'll take you guys someplace nice, because I had a checkbook, and we'll go someplace really special later, and I won't drink all day, and I'm sorry, and it'll be okay. And they just kind of all walked out. I can't go all day without a drink, but I don't know I'm not going to make it if I totally swear to God commit. And I only made it my standard 2 hours. I had started to drink on the job because I couldn't wait till 5 anymore. I thought, I do better when I'm relaxed. I think I've explained that. And work's tense, so I was relaxing at work. Why wait till 5 to relax? I mean, it's like gin and tonic and Tupperware. It's kind of a mom thing, you know. I'm like, and I had to get to the bar. I had to get a couple of drinks, and then just to take the shakes away, and then I'd be okay. And then, you know, and I never made it home. And I came out of a blackout. I didn't know where I was, and I didn't know where the kids were, and that had never happened. And that's when I did the prayer. And the prayer is, I'm not sure if you're there. I'm not sure if you'll do anything, but if you are, this is so bad, and I don't know what else to do. And God felt sorry for me. God does for us what we can't do for ourselves when we don't know what to do. He's never done for me what I could do for myself, but he's always done for me what I couldn't do for myself. And what I couldn't do was know to come here. I wouldn't have known that. I didn't feel like I was like a real alcoholic. I felt like I was an Al-Anon gone wild. God knows we need a drink, don't we, Carol? Jesus, Carol and Pat know. So, a lady named Flo 12 sent me. And she was my angel, and I didn't know what, I didn't know to call AA, and I called AA. I didn't know what a 12-step call was, but I got 12-step. And I told her everything, way more information than, I didn't even know I knew the truth. But I told her, and I felt safe with her, and she didn't judge me, and she didn't think you're kidding, or how horrible, or what a bad mom. She just said, I'm going to take you to be an AA, and it's going to be okay. And I said, okay, I'll be an AA. I had no idea what it was, but I thought I'll be in it, you know, because this is so bad. And she said, I want you to call me before you drink. I said, oh, I'm not going to drink. I'm going to be an AA. I mean, I'm good. I'm joining now, right this second. You know, I'll be in it. You know, and that lasted 2 hours, and you realize you've overreacted, and I was like, and they have your address, and they're coming for you, and it's like, oh my God, and I start to freak out. But what I thought was a rule is really the only way I know to get a fit spiritual condition right in the beginning was I called first because I thought that was a rule. I thought you could drink here, but they want you to check in. She, you know, because she said, call me before you drink. I didn't get the thing. So I thought I'm gonna have to drink to be in AA. I'm not gonna be able to make it all day. I just wanna relax so I can be in AA. I don't wanna go tense. And so I called her, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then I go, no, I don't wanna drink. I wanna be in AA. I'm good now. I go, okay, thank you. You know, and I thought, and I was good. I was fine. I'm motivated. I'm gonna do this. And then 2 hours later, it's like labor pains. You know, it's like it hits again, and I'm like, so I call her. I said, I'm gonna be drinking. I'm gonna have to drink to be an AA, and there's no way I'm gonna be able to do it and be sober because it's too stressful, and I'm really nervous today, you know. And something about joining AA will make you nervous because you have a sense that it's gonna be long. And so, you know, I kept calling her because I thought you had to call first. You can drink here, but they want you to check in. So I'm checking in, and finally about 5 o'clock, I realized I couldn't make it 1 more minute. I couldn't. It wasn't like I didn't try. I tried my best, but I've been sober all day, and it's like too long, and I'm rocking in my rocking chair like a mental patient. I'm just like waiting to be an AA, and I'm not gonna be able to do it. It's just too long. And so I call her. This time I'm putting my foot down because, you know, I can drink if I feel like it and be an AA. I mean, I just have to make this clear. It's not like she's the boss of me. You know, it's like, you've been a very nice lady all day, but give me a break. You know, I can. And what I said to her was, if you don't hurry and get here right now, I won't be able to be an AA. And I'm crying. And I knew, and it's like they're on the stoop, waiting. They know the call is coming. They know you got about 8 minutes left of this. And she was like, they're really fast. And as soon as she walked in the house, I remember I was okay. I'm dying 8 minutes before that. My skin hurts, and I'm bad. And she walked in, and I felt okay. I thought I can do that. I mean, the first step of the, you know, first word of the first step is we, and it was like, that's what I needed. I needed her to hurry to be with me. And we went to my first meeting, which was Channel Road, Thursday night, Lakeside. And some guy named Mark said, you know, he had 30 days, and he, you know, and I'm like, and they clap really loud, and I thought, oh my God, you know, you got to say your name and how long, and.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
Say it out loud, and I'm like thinking, but I can't think anymore. And finally I went, I'm Michealine, I'm an alcoholic, and which I didn't even know I was one. And I've been sober 11 hours. And they went nuts. I mean, he thought his 30 days got this big round of applause. They were crazy. You know, because I looked like I'd been sober 11 hours and, you know, trying to put makeup on and, you know, not good. And so I didn't really think it was funny then, but so I raised my hand again because I didn't know how you guys counted it. And I said, and I was awake because I wanted credit. It wasn't like I was sleeping and sober. I've been awake and sober 11 consistent hours, you know, one after another. And they clapped again, and I joined. You know, it's like, I'm joining this. And that's what my first day was like. Now, I can't tell you what I had for breakfast, you know, but I remember the day, and I remember her, and I remember that, and I remember them. And it's like, who else is proud of us? They were so proud of me. They totally got me. I didn't have to tell them all the horrible things that I'd done. I just had to say that. They totally knew everything. They got it. And I sat there, and I don't know what happened at the meeting, and then they were going to Bob's Big Boy afterwards for coffee in the next meeting, and they all talked, and all those people had so much time, like a year, 4 years, 3 years, and I'm like sitting there with them, and I thought, now I have to go overnight, and then the weekend's coming, it's like, and now I'm starting to get all tense again because, and I went, and now I'm starting to stress out over it. And one of the ladies said, some are sicker than others. And I looked around and I said, I know. I thought, how sad. I mean, look at some of them. You can see them. Sick. I didn't know she was talking about me. I'm like, I'm from La Mesa. I'm a Girl Scout. Hello. Just. Because what happened to me is, I had a family, and I had a good job, and I had the right car, and I had the right house, and I lived in the right area the day I got to Alcoholics Anonymous. But I'd been dying of alcoholism and untreated Al-Anon issues since my whole life, and I was going downhill a day at a time. And as soon as you took away the only thing that put me together, I completely decomposed. And I went to my job for a couple of days, and I looked at all the stuff on my desk, and it was a very big desk and some very important stuff, and I just thought, I am not actually qualified for this job. Whoa. My resume is not true. Just because you visited a campus doesn't mean you actually graduated, I'm like, I can't do all this. I don't even get it, I don't know how I've done it. How did I get promoted? I'm like, oh. So I went in and I said, I have to leave now. I'm an alcoholic. Really? I said, oh yeah, I'm bad. I was drinking here. I was like, oh, bad. I had to join AA. I'm in AA now. In AA, and I'm not really qualified for this job. It's like, wow. And she goes, you take the day off, and I said, no, I have to quit. I'm not going to be able to work and be an AA. It's just not, whoa. And I was serious. I left. I quit. 14 years. I quit because I don't know if you tried to work and be sober, but too much for me. It's like I just couldn't handle it, and I couldn't handle anything complex and 8 hours. Maybe I could have worked for 40 minutes or so, but those jobs are hard to come by. And I was just like, so I had to go be an AA, and I went home and I sat in my mental patient rocking chair going really fast where you're going nowhere, but you're in AA now, and so it's going to be okay because they're coming to get you in a couple hours. And then I look around and there's like kids everywhere, and they're going places, and they have cleats and things, and it's like coming out of a blackout. And I went, whoa. They said, can you take us to the field? I said, I don't feel like I can drive now. Drunk, I'm good. Sober, I'm very stressed. Yeah, I'm just not gonna get a ride, take a bus, take a cab, I don't know. It's just like, however you guys figure it out, but I need just and they went, we're gonna go to Dad's, just while you're in AA. Because you're not better, I had almost 2 weeks, and, I'm like, so far I've quit my job and, sabotaged my professional career, and now I can't carpool anymore because I don't want to drive when I'm sober. I'm very tense, and, just like, whoa, too much for me. And the other problem I had was I don't open bills. I don't open mail, didn't open mail, because mail made me nervous, because it's not good. And so I got this new theory: if you don't open it, you don't owe it. And why bum yourself out by opening it? Didn't feel bad that you're not paying it. Don't open it. In fact, don't go to the mailbox. Go to Costco. I don't know. That's what I did. I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle anything. And so they said, we'll take the house off your hands. It's too much for you. And it's like, fine, I'm in AA. And the kids are at their dad's for the summer. And, I told them it'd probably be a couple weeks. And like that, they've got 2 books. It's not like EST, you have 12 steps. They want, and I can knock one out in a day. I mean, it's not deep program. It's like, it's all on one page. I mean, it's not even big. And I said, just give me a couple more weeks. And now the house is gone. Apparently the car was one of the pieces of mail I got. I don't know how we got by. I don't even know what was happening anymore, but I knew it was too much. I couldn't function. And so I think AA people packed my home, and they put my things in storage, which I lost because I couldn't get back to work right away. I couldn't really think. I couldn't think. I was in AA, and I'm being in AA, and I'm, where I got sober, if you whined, you got a service commitment. And if you whined a lot, you had to do H&I plus regular service commitments. And I had about 15 panels going. And I'd be coffee maker, setup person, ashtray cleaner, in charge of trash. It was like just staying busy as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Jack Ladd was an old timer where I got sober. He got me a job making sandwiches in a deli. He said, you're a mom, you've made sandwiches. Somebody else, a guy named Alan, brought me over a boy twin bicycle, and Pat and her husband had just bought I thought they wanted me to move into a mobile home, and I didn't want to. And it was a 14-foot camping trailer with red shag carpeting, which is like a round piece of metal, not a home. And that was about the size of my bathroom. And she goes, you have no bathroom, you have no money, you have no job. It's a gift in ugly wrapping paper. I said, how are the kids gonna come home? They're okay right now, gift in ugly wrapping paper. A lot of God's gifts to me came in very ugly wrapping paper. If I could have chosen my first year, it would have been in my home with my job, with my money, with my kids, with my car, and some stability. And wasn't gonna happen. What I got was service commitments and a lot of AA and a black Schwinn bicycle to ride to meetings, and I sold plasma. And that was how I got sober. That's how I got my 90-day token. And I realized I was getting screwed more than anybody else had ever been in AA. There's some less worthy people out there living in a home, I'm telling you right now. I've contributed to my community, and I am living in a box of metal. And so I rode my bicycle to Taco Leo's one night, and I asked my sponsor, I said, please come get me. I need a boyfriend. Just to be in AA with me, to talk about God and stuff. And with a car and a MasterCard, preferably, because I'm going downhill quick. And I don't know if it was the plasma bandage, the fishing cap with the lure, the bicycle run, or what, but I could not get a date, it's like. And I was doing H&I detox, hoping for a date, I was like, I was flexible, I was like, I need, and she says, I want you to ask God to hold you tonight. Yeah, well, I'm gonna jump on that one, and I'm thinking hairy chest, I'm thinking, and I said, I don't think you understand my needs. I mean, I wanna do the God trip, don't get me wrong, but come on. Now, she has a husband living in a real house, the whole, what they're doing at 10:30 at night. She tells me to ride my bicycle back to the camping trailer, ask God to hold me. And that's what sponsors do. They tell you stupid things while they're in the gravy, and I'm like, and they tell you it's gonna make you whole and complete, and you got no choice. You blow out your brains, you drink, or you do what they say. Thank God. So I'm just, Dear God, if you don't hold me tonight, I'm going to kill myself. I'll leave a note. I'll say I asked you to help me, but you chose not to. And amen. Then I waited in my little bunk, you know. And the next morning I wasn't dead, and I thought, luck, a fluke. But the next day I felt even worse. I was scared. This was hard. This was way harder than anything. I thought if I didn't drink, I'd be returned to my old self. I didn't drink, and I was returned to my old self. And my old self was driven by 100 forms of fear, self-pity, self-seeking, and self-delusion. That's what my old self was, always. That's what I was returned to. And it's kind of like being naked. You know, this room looks pretty good. Everybody's all fluffed up and push-up bras and, you know, going on. But if you're all sitting around here naked, you would not be confident. You know, I'm just telling you my thoughts, not the book, but you know what I mean? And that's what sober felt like to me. I felt so naked. I felt so vulnerable, and I felt so pathetic. And I just kind of surrendered to that. And I could pretty soon in the morning, because I was doing that every night, and in the morning one day I felt something that I didn't know how to explain, but I had a shift. And the shift made me want to just do the steps more. And I went and I took my third step with my sponsor, and I had an experience that was real, that I couldn't explain exactly, but it was like other people could tell that I was trying to describe what I couldn't even describe, but I knew something I'd never known before that was going to do something that had never happened before, and I was going to be okay. I knew it. No matter money or no money, guy or no guy, car or no car, job or no job, no matter what was going on, if I would do my service commitments and say my prayers and take these steps, I would be happy and I would be whole and complete. And that's why this last year, I already know how it turns out. Guy or no guy, money or no money, house or no house. I got happy in the camping trailer. I got happy there and be more grateful than I'd ever been I had never been grateful. I'd always been wanting, needing, and now I was full. And I put my energy, I had good sponsorship. Joyce died, we were talking about it. She met me 2 days sober, and she died 3 weeks before I turned 25. And it was the first time in my life I didn't have her to go through something with me. And I thought I'd just fall apart and die. I didn't know if I could survive that. I did. That's dramatic. But the feeling was that. Like, and some nice lady temporarily sponsored me for 6 months. Very nice lady. Not the way I got sober. I got sober where forget your inner child. Find the inner adult. That's the one that's missing, you know? So I needed that. And God put somebody different in my life. But in the beginning, that's what it was like for me. And then pretty soon the kids are coming home and I'm taking more steps, and pretty soon I can get a place, and it's a 1-bedroom furnished, and all the kids are in the bedroom and I'm sleeping on a bony couch, and here comes a car from Carl at the club, because I'm just getting on my feet. And here's a set of sheets and here's a coffee pot. And Carl comes to the door and he says, I brought you a car. You're gonna need a car with the kids coming home. And I go out and I'm excited, you know, and then I see it, and it's a red Ford Pinto. Au contraire, I said, Carl, while I appreciate this, I can't. He goes, no, honey, I fixed it up for you. And I said, no, I can't. I can't take it. I just can't. And so Carl leaves with the car, and I call my sponsor. I said, you're not going to believe this. I hope you're sitting down. Carl brought me a free car. She goes, oh, my God, a gift from God. An ugly wrapping paper. It's a Pinto. I said, I'm not driving a Pinto. And I hate red, and it's a red Pinto, and it's like what? I can take just about anything but red stuff, you know? I'm like, and she was like, she couldn't even believe me. She couldn't believe I was that way, that I said that I meant it. I'm waiting for a Volvo. Somebody can come up with a Pinto, they can come up with a Volvo, you know? I'm like, she goes, I didn't tell her about the Volvo, but I just said, I just feel like I need a different car. And she goes, call Carl, tell him you're so sorry, that you're one of the most ungrateful people that I've ever met, and that you would really appreciate it if he'd bring back the car. And I'm crying. I said, please don't make me. You know, and she goes, call. I mean, it's like, I can't even believe I did it myself. I mean, you could have at least pretended to be great. Not me. I'm not taking a Pinto. You know, it's like, forget it. I wasn't full of gratitude. I didn't know these were gifts in ugly wrapping paper. I thought I was doomed here. I didn't know that becoming the ticket girl at Saturday night speakers meeting and getting to hear the circuit speakers and having them move my insides was the biggest deal that was happening to me, that was motivating me. And as I got into the steps and I began to make my amends and I began to change because of 6 and 7, which I can't even believe how well those work. Not perfectly, I might add, but good. And I'm going to Texas to make amends to my father. My mom had died when I was young. I also got to raise my sister. And I'm going to Texas to make amends to my dad. Now, my dad was not a great dad. But after a long, tedious period of inventories, I finally got to see that it was my side of the street. We were trying to keep clean here and get clean. And I had never been a great daughter. And I'd wanted him to accept me for who I was. But I never accepted him for who he was. I wanted him to remember my birthday. I knew his was in October, which I thought was good. I got it. I got my column. My sponsor helped me get my column. The victim days were over. The martyred thing was done. It wasn't about how everybody was towards me. It was about what God was going to do to make me different. And I went with my God cape on to Houston, Texas, to clean up that side of the street and just be a good daughter and let the guy off the hook, the poor thing. I just put him through hell. He wasn't enough, because I thought I wasn't. And I go there and I'm all armed and I'm ready to do it, and the next thing I know, my aunt, they're crazy in Texas. Sorry, I'm from there, I can say it. They're not sharp. They're not sensitive. You know, my aunt just is, I'm telling her this and I'm telling her, you know, I've got you guys and I've got a loving God and I want to just be a good daughter. I don't want anything from him. I just want to tell him I'm sorry and thank him for everything that he did. And she goes, well, that's not even your real daddy, honey. She goes, didn't you know that? And I said, well, that would be a no. She goes, oh, I thought you knew. Well, anyway, I think you're a Greek or a Jew. I'm not German. No. And she tells me this story, thought I knew, moves on. I'm sitting there at 5 years sober going, what? Grandpa and Grandma Draheim aren't my relatives? I'm not related. I'm not German. I look like a Jew from the Bronx, but I mean, I thought I was German, just looked funny for a German lady, you know? And so I race over to the Legacy Club outside of Houston and go to a meeting, because that's what you should always do when you're going like I was going. And there's an old timer there named Lois who got sober the year I was born. And I go racing in there like Kramer to tell her this. And she just she goes, well, a little California girl's got a problem. She goes, honey, a daddy's a daddy. Did you come to clean up your side of the street or not? Now, in California, we go on Oprah with stories like that. In Texas, they don't care. A daddy's a daddy. Get a grip. And then she said, let's have a meeting on acceptance. And they read page 449, and I got it. And I thought, that's my dad. I'm going to clean it up. And what we did for the next 3 years was I became an incredible daughter. He was an awesome dad when I was an incredible daughter. It was the coolest thing that I'd ever experienced. And he didn't go to a meeting that I know of. He never got on his knees. He never wrote an inventory. I did all the work. Okay, so God did it. But it proved to me how to do this thing. Keep my side clean. Just look for my part. Go clean that up. Forgive. I was like totally into this. And I'd forgotten about the boyfriend thing. I'd given up. Go to conventions, and I'd go to H&I, and I'd go keep my service commitments. And I had a sponsor, and I was sponsoring. And the only time I almost drank was at 6.5 years sober. And what happened, I started sharing what I was like, what happened, and what I wished I was like. Then I started sharing what I was like, what happened, and what I wanted you to think I was like. Then I started sharing what I was like, what happened, and what I should have been like. Because I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I've worked very hard here. I thought I'd turn out better and different. And I didn't want to tell, because what I was thinking, what I was doing. I didn't want to say I got jammed up with money again. I didn't want to say that I just was acting like an idiot some days at work. I didn't want to tell, because then I thought you'd think I missed a step. And pride goeth before the fall, and I was about 1.5 inches away from a drink. And I got to tell you, that was the second time that I knew for sure that God did for me what I could not do for myself, because I would rather be drunk that day than look bad. And what I realized when I emerged from that experience sober, and a newcomer had come up to me, and I went to my home group, but I just started blabbing. And this little girl had a couple days sober. And I just was like, I said, I have to tell you, I'm not doing that. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm 6 years sober, and you know how we can be. And this little new girl came up to me afterwards. She goes, do you have a book? Do you have that blue one? And I said, I do. She goes, do you have the phone list? I said, I have one. And she goes, well, use it. It's really helping me. And I said, I'll do that. And it's like, no matter how long I've been sober, it's like I thought, I'm sharing what I was like, what happened, what I'm really like now. Not all that in a bag of chips up there in my room, hyperventilating, trying to pray tonight. And I just thought, Jesus, open that mini bar. I could have relaxed, I'm telling you. But I finally met Prince Charming here, and I was raising the kids, and it was just like, finally, I just thought, finally, you know. We're doing some traveling, and the kids are good, and it's just like, I'm so incredibly grateful. And he died without my permission one night. And just died. I mean, he got a clean bill of health, and he died, which is not good for me. But it was good for him. And we were talking about it at dinner. He was so freaked out about getting creepy and old and messed up, and he was afraid of it. And God just took him home on a day when he looked good, felt good, and had just talked at a meeting. And it was his day to go home, and I knew that. I knew it that night at the hospital. I knew. God really likes him. Watch, I'll have to suffer some long lingering thing, you know. And it's like, why is he so much better than me? I mean, I didn't 10 times the service commitments he's done, you know. And we're talking about that sense of humor, and Ed Lynch was his sponsor and is really his best friend, and he had gone to the hospital with me to for nothing really. I mean, he'd already died, and a bunch of us are in the ER, and we go in, and you know, and it's like, take off his AA ring, and I put it on Monroe's hand because he was his favorite sponsee. You know, it was just all this surreal stuff. And that day, I had been at the mall, and I bought him these ridiculously expensive bedroom slippers, because he went through bedroom slippers in a week. So I decided to go buy top of the line, most expensive bedroom slippers in the universe that will last. They come with a guarantee. And Ed had seen me, and I said, Jesus Christ, if Don finds out how much I spent on these slippers, he'll die. Okay, fast forward, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, sitting at a kitchen table drinking coffee, you know, and Ed's messed up, and I messed up, and everybody's gone home, and we're just sitting there looking at each other, shaking his head, and he goes, do you think somebody called him? I said, about what? The slippers. He said, you said he'd die if he found out how much you spent, and he definitely died, you know, and I'm like, that's kind of funny, you know. I was just, and I just knew. I mean, if you've taken your third step and you've kept your service commitments and you've come here enough, you know it's gonna all work out. I've watched my heroes here go through good, bad, and in between and ugly. I've watched it. It feels like a million times, and they become my heroes. And I hope I don't have to go through what they go through, but if I ever do, I'm gonna call them. And that's what's happened to me in the last year and a half. I've watched other people lose their retirement. I've lost somebody lose their child. Both my boys are over there, and it's like, thank God for email. We've lost track of one, but I'm sure I'll get an email from them by the time I get home. You know, my daughter, as long as she sticks with a 12-step program, join something, for God's sakes, you know. And January, I got hit by a drunk driver, and he totaled my car. He was going 50 miles an hour in a big pickup truck, and I had a smaller car. And they arrested him. He had priors and the typical no insurance and no driver's license, and ended up with some nerve damage and some incidental things, you know. And yet that night I thought, oh my God, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I mean, I was so blessed. I thought I could have been sitting in the jail cell tonight. I could have been. It could have happened to me. I could have hurt somebody. I could have hurt them bad. And I've watched other people that have gone through far, much worse things than I have. There's always somebody that I can look up to. I want to get well card if I have a sinus infection. I mean, I'm being honest with you. And I watch my heroes here go through the real big stuff. And it's like, no matter how far down the scale, the women I sponsor have loved this last year. They loved bringing me dinner. They loved that I was off work for 5 weeks because everybody came over. All of a sudden, it's 10-step month, you know, and it's like, and they like cleaning the bedroom fan, you know, the fan over they love that. They like seeing me kind of messed up. They get off on that, you know. But what I know the difference from then to now is my heart. I've never not loved being a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Listen to Clancy today talk about the traditions. I got tears in my eyes. I am too an AA romantic. I love my heroes. I don't think they walk on water. I know they're trudging through it with me, but if they stay ahead of me, and no matter money or no money, job or no job, I mean, I could live in a camping trailer and ride a bicycle and be happy. I wouldn't get far these days, but I would be happy. Because I've got that walk hand in hand with the Master, and everything will be okay. And I'm okay because of you. That's it. Thanks.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. If that shows up, the gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right, but I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.